What's up, gamers and geeks? Matt here with That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And I'm sure by now we've all heard of the scrapped Ubisoft project of an Assassin's Creed game set in the Civil War era and post-Civil War era of an African protagonist that's ultimately recruited by the Assassin Brotherhood to face off against what we knew as the KKK, or shall I say a democratically made KKK. But it begs a massive question that I've had this whole time ever since hearing about this. And that is simple. Why the fuck would Ubisoft scrap an African protagonist in a game so conceivable to play a black protagonist and yet keep the samurai as an African samurai that never really existed as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows? Stay tuned. That is the question that's puzzled me. This game is scrapped, and it's about the Civil War and post-Civil War era of a protagonist who is a former slave. That, god dang man, that game sounds amazing. I would have bought that game for sure. You know, you have your ex-African slave fighting the KKK, again, democratically created KKK, but that would be a blast to play it. And instead of a conceivable game where it is completely making sense, they put him in a feudal Japan setting where it never happened as a samurai. But if you are new here, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live, whichever one you watch us on. Maybe like the video, help us as I always ask in that algorithm. And if you don't do any of those and you just watch this video, that's what matters the most. And thank you for joining. And again, I am Matt. But I don't understand this. It was the first thing that came to mind. Okay, you don't scrap Yasuke, which is your alleged controversial figure in feudal Japan where it never existed, for a game that literally would have made total sense. I would have been happy to play it. I don't care if he was a black protagonist or not. It would have made sense that he was a black protagonist, and they scrap it because of the Yasuke controversy is their reason, and the political climate that this country seems to be in right now, which, let's be realistic, I'm not trying to be an asshat here, but it just comes natural. But I'm sorry, it's one-sided. This whole shit going on in this country is one-sided. You only see one side causing all the shit. I mean, it begs the question, what is this turmoil that Ubisoft is talking about in which they had to scrap this project? What turmoil? Other than the fact that there's one specific side causing all the issue? I mean, let's be realistic. If you want to, I mean, it's not turmoil. I mean, DEI is failing, and failing for a reason. I mean, it's just not working, and the current administration's doing away with that. And fuck, it's doing the video game industry a massive service, for at least us gamers anyway. This Civil War Assassin's Creed game was supposed to take place during the Reconstruction era of America, at the trail end and after the Civil War. And again, you're playing a black protagonist who moves out west, gets recruited by the Assassin Order, the Brotherhood, and ultimately he's going to face down members of the KKK, which I would have happily played. I mean, trust me, I would have loved to play a black protagonist in the Civil War and post-Civil War era and gank KKK members. I mean, I'd gank every one of them. I mean, Jesus, it was created by the Democratic Party, but again, it is a white supremacist group either way you look at it, and it doesn't belong. I mean, I'm sorry, absolutely nowhere does the KKK belong, even though it is still somewhat in existence today. I mean, they're just a bunch of low-rent, redneck, useless pieces of shit. But the foundation that game was allegedly being produced on is so regurgitatedly old. I mean, it's just constant regurgitation over the same shit over and over. We get the message that, like in Assassin's Creed Shadows, any white man bad. I get it. I get these progressive developers and the way they think. It's just so tired and played out, and it just needs to, legitimately stop. Now, the ultimate decision as far as the timeline when this project was scrapped is back in 2024. But here's an idea. if you're going to blame some of it on the Yasuke backlash, don't shit on Japan. What the hell did Japan ever do to Ubisoft? Make a Japanese protagonist in a Japanese setting. Make it like Valhalla and Odyssey. I've spit this out I don't know how many times. Give the gender choice, male or female, because there are only two genders, and give us that option to play as a Why do you want to put a feudal Japanese setting and you don't even give it a Japanese protagonist? I mean, that was deliberately done for DEI reasons and your progressive pandering and whatever message you just had to force. But allegedly, this project was also canceled over the Trump administration. That was one of their reasons, as they are trying to restore the honors of memorials of Confederates that obviously at that time fought to maintain slavery, if I'm not mistaken. And they're using that as a, how Trump's trying to kick back on the civil rights legislatures and all that. And what I find funny is they're admitting that they canceled it back in 2024 and Donald Trump wasn't even president then. They canceled it even before the election. So how are they using the Trump administration as their primary reason for canceling? I just find it kind of ironic that when the shoe is on the other foot, it starts to get these leftist progressives to realize now they don't have the choice in the matter. As all of this shit, this DEI and this progressive shit slowly shifting, you have these progressive people now that are pissed off because they don't have the choice. Well, welcome to our world as far as the way it's been in the gaming industry for God knows how long now. And I gotta tell you, it sucks, doesn't it? And again, I gotta say that the protagonist sounded very fascinating. He sounded interesting. He was a former slave, an African slave, and again, recruited by the Brotherhood to, face down the white supremacists like the KKK. And ultimately, in a rough period of time, that after the Civil War, he would have to face down even other white supremacists that maybe weren't a part of the KKK. And I would have no problem playing the black protagonist and ganking these guys. This would be a justifiable reason to have your black protagonist, your main character in this game. And why this game was scrapped makes no sense, because this game, I think, would have been very successful. At the time, the Ubisoft devs were very enthusiastic about this game. And obviously, this was in a production phase. It had started production, and this was after Shadows had been worked on clear back to 2020. So, the black protagonist was obviously their main theme in two games. It just didn't fit in Assassin's Creed Shadows, obviously. But, again, they were using this as enthusiastic as they were. I think this game would have done extremely well. But the problem is we as gamers, we are so just sick of the rhetoric. It's fatiguing on us to it. I mean, honestly, we get tired of the same shit. I mean, it's been in other developing companies now, and it's still, you have these games being developed that were back when it was progressive, so it's too late now to cancel these projects. So they're still moving ahead, but I mean, I think we all know the direction of how those are going to be. Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog. But for them scrapping this game that is, whether they say, too political in a country that is too unstable, well, I think we know where the instability lies. I mean, all you have to do is just flip on social media, any news, and you'll see what side is causing the majority of the instability. But that being said, I don't think this was a game they needed to cancel. This was a game that, like I said, it was conceivable to play the black protagonist. I would have happily played it, and I would have happily just mauled the KKK members, as I would love to have done in real life. In closing, I think that Ubisoft has just become a spineless corporation of devs. I mean, thank God for Tencent, the Chinese-based corporation that are coming in, because I think that they're going to assume a lot more control than than Ubisoft is willing to admit. So much so that something tells me that Tencent is behind them saying, all right, get rid of that. You've done that too much. Perhaps if there wasn't an Assassin's Creed Shadows made with the black protagonist Yasuke, then Tencent might have been more compelled to allow this Civil War era Assassin's Creed game to move forward. They may have even greenlit it, because this game would have made total sense versus that piece of shit that you tried to attempt in Japan. But it's the same old pattern. Ultimately that game would have just been the same pattern. And I got to tell you, again, I don't know how many times I've said it, we're tired of it. And, in closing, I think my thought on that is that they should have scrapped Assassin's Creed Shadows altogether. It's a dog shit game. They still haven't released actual numbers. Even if that game sells 5 million copies for an Assassin's Creed game, that is just not going to be enough to keep Ubisoft afloat. Hence the entry of Tencent and this unified corporation now that they're kind of merging in order to, I think, advantage studios. But let's be realistic. Tencent hopefully has got their arm up Ubisoft's ass, working them like the puppet. But guys, that's really all I had. Tell me what you think. Would you have played this game? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm telling you straight up, I would have played the shit out of it. I probably would have played it several times. But again, if you don't mind, subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. Maybe like the video, help us out there. And if you didn't do any of those and you just watched this video, thank you so much. And to you gamers out there, all love, and I'm outro.